Welcome back, guys, to another YouTube video, and today I'm going to give you my thoughts about Superman, the new Superman movie made by James Gunn, and it's in theaters July 11th, and yeah, it's a very good movie. That's all I'm going to say, but I'm going to give you my thoughts about everything that happened. I'm going to show you the stuff I got from the movie theater. I'm also going to be spoiling some 3 big cameos that happened in the movie, and be talking about what's going to happen next in the DC universe and how all these characters connect to the TV shows and movies that will be coming up soon in the DC universe. Now, I'm going to show you guys the stuff I got. Okay, the first thing I got here is the Superman cup here. It's a collectible cup. It has the topper of Superman, and it has this kind of like rubber cape material. It's a pretty cool cup, and it's going to be in my background in my videos. And the next thing I got is the popcorn bucket, the Daily Planet popcorn bucket, and it has like the newspaper of Superman. You just gotta open this up, and then put your popcorn in. I'm not gonna do that. You see the other popcorn buckets I have in the back there. Use them as display. Nice little popcorn tin, and it's pretty cool. Okay, now I'm going to give you the rundown of everything that happened in the movie. So the movie starts out with Superman crashing down on the ice, like you see in the first trailer. In the first 2 minutes of the movie, it's just all the things that we've seen from the trailers. Basically, you see him hit the ice, the blood coming out of his mouth, and you see Crypto take him to the Fortress of Solitude and getting recharged. And then it takes what happens then, like how did he end up after getting beat up, how did he get beat up, and basically the Hammer of Bolivia beats him up, and basically the Hammer of Bolivia is actually a person that Lex hired that's actually Ultraman. So it's Ultraman under this suit and basically kicked Superman's ass. And Bolivia is like this country in the DC universe that's having there's another little country. They're both like going against each other right now, and they have like a disagreement, and Lex Luthor is actually working with the bad guys with the Bolivia and like giving them weapons and stuff to the country. And yeah, so that happens. And then Lex Luthor was a kind of pain in the ass in this whole movie. So he was just trying to make Superman look bad. So the engineer finds the Fortress of Solitude. They defeat the robots. Lex is there. He takes the message, okay, from Superman's mom and dad that's revealed, spoiler, is Bradley Cooper is Superman's dad, Jor-El, and they have a message, and it's basically, Superman, your hope, protect the people of Earth. And then they that was like the first part of the message, and then the second part didn't like happen yet, and Lex Luthor found the second part of the message and basically said, oh, make sure to conquer the people and like do all the bad stuff to be the one and only Kryptonian. So that happens, and then basically Lex Luthor is trying to turn the people against Superman, but the people still believe in Superman and still believe in his hope and stuff, and like Superman saves all the people and stuff after the attack of Bolivia, and he's just a good guy. And then Lex Luthor deploys the kaiju that we see in the trailers, and basically it got bigger and bigger, and then Superman fights him, and then he gets a little stuck. He saved a couple people, and then the Justice Gang pulls up. That's Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, and Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. So, sorry, but they fight the kaiju, and basically they kill the kaiju because they use Mr. Terrific's spheres. It went in his mouth and then blew up the stomach, like his stomach. It was kind of gross and kind of sad because the kaiju was kind of cute. And basically the Justice Gang, they wanted to kill the kaiju, and then Superman didn't want to kill anybody. Just didn't want to kill the kaiju, and like just said, oh, just put it in a zoo or something. And then they killed it. It was like, wow. And then so Lex Luthor is holding these people and like creatures and stuff in his pocket dimension, and we're gonna be kind of exploring the pocket dimension in Peacemaker season 2 in August. Peacemaker will be using the pocket dimensions for some other stuff, but yeah, Lex been testing humans, aliens, animals and stuff. He actually kidnaps Crypto and uses him for like some, I don't know, some experiment. It was kind of wicked. And then you meet Metamorpho. Metamorpho, he can turn into any solid object, or not object, any element he wants to be. So it can be like water, he can be like sand, he can be helium, he can be like anything. It's pretty cool. And then he actually uses kryptonite to weaken Superman, and like Superman's face is all messed up. And then he sees one of the guys in the trailer that lifts up Superman. Lex actually captures him and literally kills him in front of Superman and Metamorpho. And Metamorpho starts crying, and basically what happens then, he uses the light to free Superman to save his kid, baby Joey. And yeah, that happens. And then the rift from the pocket dimension starts going up on the city of Metropolis. And like there's like a kind of like a crack. And yeah. So Ultraman and Superman have a battle at the very end. Basically it gets revealed he's David Cordsweat. Clone of Superman. Lex actually grabs a piece of Superman's hair. At some point, I was on the ground, and he grabbed in, just cloned Superman, basically. And kind of with Ultraman, he's kind of like dumb, and he actually has to get controlled to do moves. Lex Luthor was like up, A1, A2, Y3. There's all different moves that he kind of like programmed him to do so he can actually fight Superman and beat him. And it was pretty cool, and he does go into a black hole. Ultraman does. And I'm going to give you my theory on that in a little bit. And then Superman confronts Lex at the very end. And basically the Daily Planet stuff was like, oh, here's everything Lex was doing with this country. Here's all the payments. It was going all around the news. And then the government actually arrested Lex Luthor. And that was kind of like the end of that. And then you see Superman going back to the Fortress of Solitude, and another big spoiler right here. Supergirl appears, and she's basically drunk, and she's the one that was taking care of Crypto, because Crypto was kind of bad in this movie. He's still a good dog, but he was a little bad. But yeah, basically Supergirl was taking care of Crypto most of the time that she was there at the Fortress of Solitude. And basically that confirms that Crypto will be in the next Supergirl movie. And probably David Cornswell will be there as well. And then the movie ends like that. So that's basically a summary of the whole movie. And I'm going to go back to the cameos. So the big cameos that happened in this movie, kind of mentioned some of them, but we have Bradley Cooper as Superman's dad. That was a little surprising. And maybe they'll do like a TV show of basically Krypton, and maybe he'll be like the star in that show. Number 2, we saw in the trailers Rick Flag. He was in Creature Commandos, and he will be in Peacemaker Season 2. He wasn't really a big part of the Superman movie. Maybe like 2 minutes of screen time. But he's the Secretary of Defense in Superman. And he works like for the government and stuff. And Lex was talking with the government in this. So, yeah. Number 3 is Peacemaker. I forgot to mention this when I was summarizing it. But Peacemaker was on a talk show and talking trash about Superman. It was pretty funny. John Cena, can't wait for Peacemaker Season 2. And then we have Supergirl at the very end. It was very cool. It wasn't like an end credit or anything. There is 2 end credits. They're okay. But Supergirl, I'm excited for the movie now because I read something that David Cornsweat might be in the movie as well. And you know Crypto is going to be in it. But yeah, those were the big cameos. Now we're going to be talking about how all these characters can set up the future of the DCU. So there's some characters that are in this movie that will be probably in other shows in the DC universe. And we know there's going to be a couple shows that maybe some of these characters will be in. So we have our next kind of show is Peacemaker. We know Peacemaker is going to be in that. He appeared in Superman. Rick Flag's going to be in that. And we know the Justice Gang. We know Guy Gardner and Hawker will be in it. We're not sure about Mr. Terrific or Metamorpho. Also, Metamorpho does join the Justice Gang at the very end. So they have 4 members. And in Peacemaker, they're looking for probably a 5th member. So, could be Peacemaker. So, that'll be fun. But that kind of they have some Peacemaker characters in this. So, And our next project is the Lanterns, and we know Guy Gardner is going to be in that, definitely. And maybe Hawkgirl, because in the comics I know Jon Stewart and Hawkgirl have a relationship in the animated show that was a couple years ago. But I know they have a relationship. Maybe that'll happen. And we also know Supergirl. We know probably David Cornsweet's going to be in Superman. And we know Crypto. Maybe if they have a Daily Planet, maybe some Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, maybe some of those characters. Maybe Guy Gardner, maybe, I don't know. But we have that. And then Clayface, I don't think any of these characters will be in Clayface. We still don't know. We still know like a lot of things about Clayface, so that's up in the air. But those are like some of the characters that will probably show up in the next upcoming projects. And there's probably going to be a lot of more projects revealed in San Diego Comic-Con that's happening in a couple of weeks or a couple days. So that should be very exciting. I think it's in August though, so maybe a couple weeks. So yeah, now I'm going to give you my theories for what happened to Ultraman. So with Ultraman, the whole time he was like a big mystery character, and then at the very end we get to see that he's David Cornsweet clone, basically, and he does fall into this black hole, okay, and he does have Superman powers, and I think he might be alive because when Superman was fighting him, he basically, there was like a bus coming down and he kind of just went into a black hole. So he might become Bizarro. Bizarro is the opposite of Superman in the comic books. And also Lex Luthor was talking about in his pocket dimension, it was a piece of the original Earth before the Big Bang happened. And it's like a little piece of that Earth. And that could become Bizarro World, if maybe. So maybe he got stuck and it's upside down. I don't know. But he might become Bizarro, and if they do, explore that again. But I don't think he really died in it, because we still don't know, because he's in a black hole. Superman can go in space and stuff, and like, I don't think he's really dead, but he probably just lost. Also, we do not see where Lex Luthor goes. We know that he gets kidnapped by the government and maybe going to jail, but we don't see him where he's going to jail. So he might be free, he might be, I have no clue, but he's probably going to be going to jail, but he might break out because he has the money. And we also see the engineer. I didn't really talk about her that much, but she got kind of like knocked out when she was fighting Superman. And, you know, she was supposed to be in the Authority show or movie, whatever that's going to be. And she's supposed to be, like, the main person in that. And it should be exciting for the Authority, because that might come out. James Gunn did say that some movies did get cut. And one movie got cut, and we still don't know what it is. But, yeah. So, that's everything that happened in the movie. I'm going to give you guys my ranking. I think this movie is a 10 out of 10. Yeah, it's a very good movie. It's a good stepping stone for the first DCU movie. You can build a lot of stories with just this one movie, because you have so many of these characters now. You have the Justice Gang. You can make just so many stories that they can do with this. And I'm excited for his next movie. It will be Supergirl. I'm excited for that. And I'm also excited for Lanterns and Peacemaker. That should be very good, especially Peacemaker, because it'll be more building on this universe. And it was a very good movie. Even if you're not like a fan, just a casual, it's still a good movie. I would recommend watching this movie. A lot of good things. The suit was awesome. David Cornsweet was awesome as Superman, especially when he was Clark Kent. He was a good Clark Kent. Lois Lane did well. She was a good Lois Lane. Metamorpho was cool. Mr. Terrific was actually very cool. I wasn't sure about him, but yeah, he was very cool. Guy Gardner was awesome. Hawkgirl was awesome. Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult, wow, he played a really good Lex Luthor. And yeah, it was a very good movie. I recommend watching this. So yeah, that's all my thoughts about it. And I'm very excited for the next upcoming DC stuff. So make sure to like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next video.